Let's go. Game time.
All right, everybody.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Better Baby Daddy podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, John Lakshman.
I'm your other co-host, Kelly Burgess.
And B, today we're going to talk about a topic that is extremely important to everything that goes along with building families.
Yep.
Right? How do we take one family from over here, and expect it to work?
Absolutely.
Right? Sometimes we have different values. Sometimes we have different views politically,
Yep.
religiously, all those different things. Today's topic is successfully blending family.
And so, as we were talking in pre-show, this is, when you talk about blended families, you're at the point where you've applied pretty much all the stuff we talked about on previous episodes.
Mm.
So, we're going out to an audience of dads trying to be better baby dads. So you're in a situation where you're a single parent, or you're not with the parent, your partner, and now you've done all this work, you've kept your kids the priority, you've done your working yourself, and now you're at a point where, hey, you're able to step into a situation where you invite somebody else in to join a different family unit with you. And so it is a complicated thing. It can be a very rewarding thing, but it's not to be entered into lightly. So we talked last time about dating, right?
Yes.
And so it is 10 steps up from dating. But dating is a precursor. So
Yeah.
we're going to get into that. We have 5 things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about 3 today and pick up on the other 2 in a subsequent episode.
Right. Absolutely. So we have 5 keys to success, and it's centered around Ron Deal and smart step families smart step families. I can't remember the exact term there.
If you just look up
framework. I'm sorry.
So if you look up Ron Deal,
Yeah.
he got tons of videos. He is a faith-based guy, but he frames it in a way that everybody can understand it. And it helped me because, going back to a personal story, I've had 2 situations where I've tried to blend families. The first time I was completely unprepared, unrealistic, and just unskilled. And so because of so much stuff that came up from that second time trying to blend some families, I was looking for resources, and I found, came across Ron Deal stuff. And the one picture that he gave me that really helped me, because I was struggling with some of my stepchildren, was that blended families are like a crock pot, and they are not like a microwave. And
interesting.
yes. And so Ron Deal does a good job of using these word pictures to say, hey, look, this is what it's like. And so what we tend to do, particularly when we find that shorty that we really like, we've been lonely for a while, we're doing this all behind the scenes work as a single dad, $2 paycheck, all, grinding, delivery. And we're at a point where we can just kind of exhale a little bit.
Yeah.
And we find somebody and they like us, we like them. There's kind of initial vibe with the kids, and we're like, yo, let's get it moving.
This looks like it's going to work.
It's going to work.
Yeah.
And we tend to take what Ron Deal says, a blender mentality to that relationship. We're just going to put everybody in a pot. My 5-year-old, my 3-year-old, you, your ex, your 7-year-old, your mama. My mom and dad who are divorced. We're going to put all of that in the pot because you and I like one another, and blend that joint up and expect that everybody cool.
And we got a fruit smoothie. We good.
It's all good. Nutritious. Everybody's happy. And that's simply not the case.
Wow. Yeah.
But we do it all the time.
Yeah.
And so his idea, the crock pot, I'll put it to you real quickly. He said in a crock pot, the crock pot works because you have all these different ingredients, the pot roast, potatoes, carrots, celery, seasonings, the juice, all that goes in there. And the reason why it works is because you cook it at low temperature over a long period of time. And when you do that, everything is able to get done in its own time. So the meat might get done before the potatoes, which gets done before the carrots, which, the juice is the last thing. But if you're expecting the carrots to get done at the same time as the meat, you got unrealistic expectations. So a blended family needs time and low heat.
Low heat.
And when we rush things, we compress the time and we elevate the heat. And so if you don't take anything away from today's podcast, is that time and low heat emotionally helps the things to blend.
So would you say that you definitely used that blender mentality at first?
No doubt about it. I remember specifically taking I had 5 kids at the time.
Yeah.
And it was a new lady that I was involved with, had not put my current situation fully to bed by any stretch. I'm just gonna leave it at that. There were still sheets crumpled up on the bed. Don't do what I did. So I remember taking my kids to an event with this new lady and her child at that time,
Yeah.
and thinking, man, we're all at this, whatever it was, go-kart track or whatever.
Mhm.
Man, we got enough money for the kids to take a couple laughs, sodas and snacks, and it's good. And I was deceived and doing everybody, including myself, but especially the kids and her, a disservice.
Yeah.
Because I was saying, let me invite you into this situation. And I wasn't ready to absorb that situation. The kids weren't ready for that. So yeah.
That crockpot mentality, that just it vibes with me because almost anything that comes out of a crock pot after a multitude of hours or a night or a day tastes so damn
It's
good.
so
Good.
so good.
But we don't wanna wait.
We don't want to wait. And true crock pot cookers are like, don't take that top off.
Yeah.
You got to keep everything in there working, right? You interrupt the process. And sometimes we do take we might start that way, but we take the top off, trying to rush it, trying to see what's going on.
Yeah.
But it takes time. And it's funny because when you're trying to become a better baby dad and you see, hey, I'm getting ready to be able to level up, maybe get a new relationship, it's a tendency to want to get to that so soon. But if you just wait and allow the process to take what it takes, everybody's in a better.
So, when you were blending, what was the number one mistake you made? Was it time? Was it effort? Was that number one mistake?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it shows up mostly with the children and
Okay.
trying to either assert too much authority or manufacture a level of closeness that time hadn't created. Correct.
Okay.
It's coming from a good. It's just the kid's not ready for that. Like we talked about before, they're still grieving.
Yeah.
They're still trying to put their heads around the fact that their parents are not together. And
Yeah.
who's this new dude? And I don't like the way he does, But you're like trying to make it work
Mm.
because you want the relationship to work, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
want to be a good parent. You want to
Right.
be a good partner, but you can't force it. And I remember with, my oldest stepdaughter, man, we had some knockdown dragouts because I was coming into her life at, 7, 8, 9. And when she went through teen years, it was really, really a struggle because I was pressing an issue and she wasn't ready to receive that. That was the biggest mistake. And then the second one was, and we'll get to that in the next episode,
Yeah.
not being on the same page with her mom on how do we handle that?
Ooh, yeah.
How do we handle the pace? How do we handle, hey, if I tell her one thing, you tell her
Yeah.
something else,
Yeah.
but I'm like, yo, we can't do that. My kids don't do that.
Yeah. So expecting like immediate love, expecting immediate bonding,
Correct.
'cause
Great way to. Yep.
it's just not realistic.
It is not.
Yeah,
It is
it's not. So I guess Ron specifically talks about that time frame that it really build that blended family appropriately and to really have authentic love and authentic bonding can take anywhere from 5 to 7 years.
Yeah.
And when your experience was it that long to really experience that type of love and bonding, that authentic love and bonding?
Yes. Looking back on it,
Yeah.
right? In it, I was like, why isn't this? We're doing all the right things,
Yeah.
right? We're trying. We're
Yeah.
coming from earnest place. Why is this taking so long? And then in doing the research and seeing that time frame, I was like, oh, that's a long time, but that's what it is. So we want to give it to you so you can manage your expectations for this journey you're going to be on. And remember, once you say, hey, I'm gonna blend families with somebody, we're hoping it's the last time you ever have to blend.
Absolutely.
It's the last blending you do. And so 5 to 7 years in a 30, 40, 50-year relationship is missing a significant amount of time, but it's not a lot of time.
But it's fractional compared to
Correct.
the relationship itself.
And that's the
Yeah.
mindset we want you guys to have, is that, hey, it is a small investment on the front end
Mhm.
to have tremendous dividends on the back end.
Mm.
It's just like investing. You got to put the money in, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You and I both look at businesses, and
Yeah.
those businesses, those really, really good ones,
Mhm.
they're going to be 10x, 20x, 100x.
Mhm.
It might take 3 or 4 years for you to even be able to see that thing begin to turn the corner. And
Right.
it's going to be some ups and downs. It's
Absolutely.
very
You might be investing in the red for the first 2 years,
A
for 3
lot.
years, and
A
you're
lot.
like, "Dang."
Right.
But if you're willing to hold on,
Correct.
that 5th year, that
Right.
6th year, that 10th year
Yeah.
sometime is
Yeah.
when things start to blossom.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're really laying a patchwork of, particularly with the kids, consistency, fairness, what genuine love looks like. And that cannot be manufactured, like you said,
Mhm.
and it's not microwave.
Mm.
It's time after time after time after time after I'm going to be here and I'm going to treat you this way.
Yeah.
And that just takes time. So
So have you been on both you have been on both sides, I should say,
Yeah.
where you're coming in as a stepfather,
Right.
but you're also attempting to bring in someone as a stepmother,
Correct.
right? You've been on both
Yes.
those I guess essentially polar opposites, right? It's same um
Yeah. You both, right.
yes.
So you're the ambassador for the other step parent,
Yeah,
and then you're trying to have a, you're another authority in your stepkid's life, right?
right.
And so, you need to have a relationship that is going to kind of welcome you into that. So hopefully your partner in that is saying, hey,
So what were some of the pitfalls that you faced as a stepfather stepping into new children's lives? That's the first part.
right.
And then what were some of the pitfalls that you experienced trying to introduce this woman into your biological children's
Yeah,
lives?
yeah. So I'm gonna take the second one first. So the pitfalls were not understanding what disrespect or her expectations for interaction with my kids. So I'll give you an example.
Mhm.
So in the Black community, if you enter into a house and there's an adult in there and you're a child, you speak, right? And it's just a given, right? Sign of respect, right? And so but with your own kids, you're just used to kind of the pattern of, hey, you come, they came in, hey, what's up? Hey, good to see that. And they might go straight to their room or they might yell something as they're going in. And that's how my kids go, right?
Yeah.
If your partner is expecting a stop, look at me,
So the
a le-
level of acknowledgement, the level
acknowledgement,
of communication.
right?
Yeah.
Same thing, but just it looks different to them.
Yeah.
And so disrespect looks different for them.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where I'm trying to calibrate to, oh, okay, what's my partner's expectation for my kids? And then having to, even with kids much older,
Mhm.
I hate to say even correct, it's raise their level of awareness that, hey, this is a thing.
Mhm. Could I stop you for
Yeah.
1 second? Because that's so interesting, that dynamic, right? But I'm almost looking at it from the child's perspective, where the child may just not be comfortable. And we have these expectations where the child should be comfortable,
Right. Right.
but we're looking at it only from our eyes. But they might be like, I ain't speaking to you.
Discussion point.
Yeah.
And so what we're saying is, hey, blending is complicated.
Yeah.
And you think like something small like that
Yeah.
could be a thing.
Yeah.
Because if your kid comes in the fourth and fifth time and does the same thing, and that's upsetting, and that has happened, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, "Did you see you didn't?" I was like, "I didn't even see you did," But then it's like, "Okay, now we're addressing it, right?" So, but yeah, it's all of that, and that's what makes it so complicated. So that was one thing. It's having to get adjusted to what's a thing for my current partner that was never a thing for me,
Yeah.
and I might not have ever seen it as a thing for her, but it's
Yeah.
a thing.
Yeah.
And then I gotta, do something with the
It's
kids. That's the
essentially
thing.
you went on a road trip, but you didn't set any of the ground rules for the road trip until y'all are already down the block.
Hey, we're at the Wawa on the
Yeah.
turnpike already.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the second thing, and this is a crucial thing, is it goes on to just preparation. Is hey, what? Because at some point, you deal with kids. There's going to be some correction, some discipline is going to take place.
Mhm.
So just some ground rules on hey, who takes the lead in disciplining this set of kids,
Mm.
this set of kids, and then all the kids.
Mm.
How's that gonna work out, right?
Yeah.
So do I step to your kids the way that I would step to my kids? Do I
Yeah.
let you step to my kids the way you step to your kids? Maybe we got two different ways of going about it. You might be a little bit more forceful and direct.
Yeah.
Now my kids are used to sitting down and kind of, having a discussion about it, right?
Right.
So laying those ground rules out way ahead of time, doing some common research and coming from common plans, and then doing it in real time, reflecting, saying, yeah, I could have done it better, being real intentional about it. I was not that way with the
Okay.
second.
So you was just like, "Hey, I'm gonna discipline everybody and handle it how I feel is best in
Some,
any given situation."
yeah, some of that.
Yeah.
And then, but, my second partner was a lot more forceful and she was more, I hate to use the word harsh, but she was more direct with stuff,
Okay.
a little louder volume than I was with
Uh-huh.
my kids. And
Uh-huh.
so they weren't accustomed to that. And so we had many conversations about that.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. But again, that's because went into the second one with no understanding, good intentions, but no real practical understanding of, oh, this is how you do this in a healthy way for it.
Very, very
Yeah.
interesting there. I guess that brings us to our second point, and that second point is open, consistent, communication.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that,
Right.
then you're going to run into situations that are going to cause chaos
Correct.
across the entire gambit of.
Back to our previous episode, John, we talked
Yeah.
about dating. That was one of the foundational things. And before I even introduce you as a partner,
Yeah.
we've established, here are the cards,
Yeah.
here are the non-negotiables or the nuts, like you like to say.
Yeah.
And then here's a framework on how we're going to talk about these things. And we do it way before we have to even, actually apply it. And so if you don't do that when you're dating or when you're just friends, it is tough to do it on the job when you just kind of decide to blend. That is the main indicator that you've just thrown some things in a blender.
Right. Because
Yeah.
now you're trying to do it with emotions involved,
Correct.
as opposed to doing it with those emotions have not occurred just yet.
Right.
So if you could go back,
Mhm.
right? What are, let's go with 3. That's easy one, right? 3 very specific and needed communication talking points prior to bringing everyone together that you would have had with your partner.
That's a great question. All right. I would come up with a general framework on how to handle conflict.
Okay.
So, so honey, when conflicts happen,
Mm-hmm.
however they bump up between me and you and the kids, or my kids and you and your kids and mine, or us and the kids, what are some fair fighting rules that we're going to come up with?
Okay.
Because when it gets heated, I might not think about that in the moment. But if we talk about them now, and be like, oh, okay, if she says, "Hey, I need 5 minutes," that's one of our fair fighting rules. So come up with a framework for handling conflicts
Between you and her, or you and the entire family,
between me,
or the entire family in general?
between me and
Okay.
yeah.
So if there's a disagreement on
Right.
how to discipline a kid that skipped a class or skipped
Correct.
school, then you have a framework set in place
Correct.
to handle that,
Yeah.
to then communicate that information to the child.
Right.
Okay.
Secondly, I would have the kind of the who does what in terms of discipline.
Okay.
So we know ahead of time if it's something, and I defer to, hey, if it's your biologicals, you take the lead on that.
Mhm.
I'm there to back you.
Yes.
If you ask my opinion in front of the kids, I'm gonna offer it so the kids are hearing it. But having some ground rules on who's going to do the discipline, and
Mhm.
then communicating that to the kids.
Mm.
Hey, so they're not confused and they can't probe and
Wow.
say, hey, if I do this, I know Kelly's not going to say something because he's just my stepdad, right? But mom, I know that's not going to flow with mom, right?
Right.
So the kids, that goes to, as a couple, once you decided to blend families, you're now a united front. Just like if you're the original family.
Mhm.
Hey, we're the units. We love y'all, but y'all are subordinates.
Yeah.
And what we say is the way it's going to rock. We're going to hear you. You can have input at different times, but hey, once we say it's this, it's going to be that. And so coming up with a way to be able to present that united front to the kids, particularly when it comes to discipline. Hey, I'm fully behind what your mom said about the cell phone.
I love that part. I love that part where, hey, we're gonna have a conversation prior to any conflict occurring, and this is how it's gonna go. Your mother is gonna take the lead in these situations. I'm gonna take the lead in these situations, and we're gonna support each other
Right.
in front of you, so you understand that we are completely united. We have the same values and goals moving forward. We have the same expectations and standards for you as children.
Right.
That is it right
Yeah.
there, man.
But it's work.
Yeah.
Right. That is
Yeah.
not something you just kind of come off the top of your dome with. It takes intentional, reflective work.
Mm.
And so, those are the biggest, the framework and understanding of how we're going to discipline and doing that so you can present a united front and there's not conflict
Mhm.
while you're trying to discipline a kid, right?
Yeah.
Correct the kids' behavior, and then we're having this battle, right, in front of the children.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And then the other thing I would say is, those are like, heated things. And this last thing is we'll speak to a little bit more in the next episode is you're establishing a new family identity. And as soon as you can, and as meaningfully you can do it, is begin to establish your own, family routines and things you can hang your hat on as a family.
Okay.
So if it's a game night, if it's spades, if it's a bedtime routine, if it's a every summer we go here, begin to establish those early so that you can kind of hang some positive interactions in with all the kids. I would say those 3.
So you're creating a platform for bonding and love to occur naturally.
Correct.
Like,
Correct.
here's an opportunity for love and bonding to occur naturally,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we know everybody loves going to baseball games,
Yeah.
let's go to a baseball game
Yeah.
and allow that natural enjoyment, that natural happiness to
Right.
occur in that environment.
Correct.
I love that too, man. That's
Yeah.
big stuff.
Yeah.
So, not to switch gears entirely,
Mhm.
but can you talk about that dynamic that you had in regards to trust?
Mhm.
I hate to use this term. Like, I don't like these terms, but like with your non-biological children.
Sure.
How long and how did that play out, that trust factor?
It took a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't. I don't know if I could put the years on it, but I'll give you
Yeah.
examples. Oldest stepchild,
Mhm.
stepdaughter,
Mhm.
is an adult now,
Mhm.
and my relationship with her mom didn't last. You know, we were married.
Mhm.
You know, so I entered her life when she was a little girl,
Yeah.
like, you know, late elementary school,
Yeah.
getting ready to go to middle school, a pivotal time for a young
Yeah.
lady, right? And then because of a variety of reasons, that relationship didn't work. But I was with her all the way up through, you know, college and, you know, beyond. So she's an adult now. And it went from rocky to close to rocky to
Ye
close to real rocky
yeah.
when I got married for the third time to now we're all adults. We can speak holistically about what happened in the past,
Mhm.
what wasn't healthy. She's in a situation where she's getting ready to get married. And so we're able to talk about like, hey, what would you like to carry forward? So the length of time, honestly, is still ongoing.
Right.
I mean, the building of the trust is just, but it's, you know, we trust one another
Mhm.
because we went through this thing. We called it what it was. We
Yeah.
said, that wasn't healthy. I'd never want to repeat that again.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm glad you were there. And would you be involved in my wedding in this way? You know, so it was ongoing. But the thing that got us through those tough parts were time and low heat. And there was a time when she was really upset with me as
Mhm.
an adult about something that she perceived that I did. And I had to just I had to take that pot off the heater and just let it sit, let her have her feelings, not try to convince her that I was trying to do something different, not trying to change her mind. And then over time, just out of the blue, she texted one day and said, I'm really sorry for the way I approached that. I was feeling X, Y, and Z. I processed those feelings and I just want to say that I'm sorry.
Wow.
But it took time
Yeah. Yeah.
and low heat,
Yeah.
prayer behind the scenes, still loving her, reaching out,
Yeah.
you know, but you know, that's what it took.
Time and effort,
Time
right?
and effort,
Time and effort, man.
and understanding that hurt people they hurt you sometimes, right?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
they're gonna they're gonna throw off hurt, and not blaming them for that, and still loving them. I think is is the recipe. But it took many many years,
Mm.
and a lot of times going back. Apologies on my end. So all I have to say is that the blended thing is not linear. It's not A to B. It is very complicated
Like most things in
like
life.
most things in
Yeah.
life, but
Yeah.
it's even more complicated because you have so many other moving parts that you might not have a lot of direct influence on
Mm.
because you're entering into an existing family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had a large age range. Am I correct on saying that?
Yeah.
So the conversation you're having with your 17-year-old biological or 17-year-old stepchild, right, is not the same conversation you're having with your 8 or 9-year-old.
No.
Yeah. So those age appropriate
Yeah.
conversations, right? There are some conversations I'm guessing you had as a entire unit,
Correct.
but then there are also conversations I had here and
Yeah.
conversations I had here.
Correct.
Did you find navigating that to be difficult?
Yeah. Because it was clumsy and you
Yeah.
don't know unless you really read up on child development
Mhm.
or you read up on the impact of, you know, divorce or separations on kids and how kids process that at different speeds because of their age.
Yeah.
You're just kind of going into a blind. It's coming from a good place because you're a parent. You're saying, hey, I want to have this conversation. I want to do this thing because I love you.
Yeah.
And I want to, clear up any issues or get out in front of some stuff.
Mm.
But there's another layer of understanding of kids
Yeah.
that can help you do it in an even more effective way. And so those age appropriate conversations, one book I would defer to is What About the Children by Judith Wallerstein, which talks about when you break up, what could the impact look like on your kids? How could different behaviors present, post divorce or post split up?
Mhm.
And it allows you to say, oh, okay, I'm seeing a really, really angry kindergartner who doesn't have all the words to say, Dad, I'm really disappointed that you and mom you know,
Right.
couldn't work it out. I look at y'all's most stable relationship. Y'all, supposed to be in the world, supposed to be unshakable.
Right.
And it's shaking, and I don't really know what to do with that, Dad. You got a moment for me? A 5-year-old is going to shut down or escalate And so the conversation with them and the interaction with them is different
Yeah.
than your 17-year-old daughter who will dress you down because she's seen all the inconsistencies.
Right.
She's seen, what do you mean I can't have Chad over? You had Shaquanda over. They'll fix an omelet for you. Help me understand. You ain't married?
Did you find that the younger ones were more receptive than the older ones?
Yes.
Because the younger ones are like,
Right.
here's someone else to play with. Let's
Two were, they're just more like cut and dry about, is this really going to impact like the basics, like toys, video game time, going out to eat. Like if
That
that's not interrupted, even like they don't calibrate like, okay, I'm not going to see you a lot, Dad, but when I do see you, are these things happening?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the older ones, because they are older and they can, like I said, they know you better. They can see the inconsistencies. They understand the nuances of relationships, and they know what you've said to them, right?
Mm.
They know you've preached the thing up here,
Yeah.
but then your actions are like down here someplace, and they're trying to reconcile that. Plus, they're becoming their own person of like, I love my dad, but I don't know if I want to rock like that. I
Yeah.
don't want it to be as messy as I've seen it with him.
Right.
And I know that I have with some of my older kids, definitely.
Yeah.
But it's all an opportunity for a good discussion
Yeah.
and to help the next generation do it better, right? Like so what we're trying to do, dads, right? Is
Yeah.
put the kids first,
Hey, that's it.
help the next generation do it better than we did. Yeah.
So, did you find at times that you needed to bridge conversations too between you and your partner and the children?
Oh no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Very difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on the topic,
Yeah.
because you want to present that united front with your wife, like I'm down with you, sweetie.
But I don't agree.
I don't agree. And my child is coming from this vantage point.
Right.
So when he said this, or he didn't say this, or he said it with his back to you, it wasn't coming from this place of, man, I don't really want to talk to you. I'm disrespecting you. It didn't, because I know him. He's not that kind of kid. But she's still processing it like that. That's very difficult. But
Yeah.
if you do the pre-work, like we talked about on previous episodes, you got a strong track record of communication. You know how to have conflicts in a healthy way. It's just another challenging communication or conversation that you have to have that you just stack a win on.
I think what I'm hearing, and I have limited experience compared to you in this situation. I tried to do it once, and try is not even a good term. What I did, I don't even know what I did. But what's worse than a blender? Like, what is worse than a blender?
It is worse than a blender. It is worse than a blender.
I threw everybody on a hot skillet and say, "Hey," and I told them it wasn't hot while they was in the air. I was like, "Don't worry, it ain't hot." But what I'm hearing from you is that you need to be proactive.
Yes.
100%. Like,
Correct.
there is no other way around it. We need to have conversations with our potential future partners.
Right.
We need to have conversations with our stepchildren, our biological children, our baby mamas. We need to have these conversations because if we don't have these conversations when emotions aren't involved, it's almost impossible or very, very difficult to have those conversations when emotions become involved.
Difficult. Yeah. And it's not easy work, and all the different parties respond differently.
Yeah.
And so you have to have the mindset that I'm going to continue to go back when it's appropriate to continue to address things, that I'm available.
Yeah.
And that requires you as a man to be way out in front of it. Like, what do you want it to look like? And how do you what do you need to do to get to that point where there's smooth communication, there's a united front, there's not any surprises coming from the ex, what do you got to do today to build that kind of, really it's resilience in your new family.
Resilience. I like that.
It takes planning and time.
Yeah.
And it's funny, it's like you said, you got to be proactive, but at the same time, 5 to 7 years. At the same time, it's got to cook slow.
Right. And even if you do everything right from a proactive standpoint, there are going to be times when you're reactive.
No doubt.
Because we're humans.
Yeah.
Right? We are humans.
No doubt.
It's like, but what do you do in those moments? Do you allow those moments to go from a campfire to a forest fire?
Right.
Or do you control the campfire and put it out? Are you able to do that?
Yeah.
And I think those moments are going to ultimately define what occurs and how things play out. But to really, really be in control of that campfire, it starts with you and your partner.
No doubt about it.
Right?
Yeah.
There has to be couple strength, because couple strength is going to equal family strength, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's no different than an intact nuclear family. That couple is the cornerstone. And when you have a blended family, it's more intentional work to remain coupley
Mhm.
because you got so many things that are trying to wedge things between you, not on purpose, but just circumstances. And you got to be really intentional about, hey, no matter what happens, we're it. And what worked for me was just shutting up and really listening to my partner. Instead of being so quick to try to fix it, let me really understand her perspective. Because if you're blending, particularly if you're taking a lady who doesn't have kids and
Okay.
she's coming into your situation, number one, she's an automatic new parent,
Yes.
and it's not her. There's a degree of separation because it's not her biological kid. So she didn't have the run up to being pregnant and all, she didn't have all that. And
Yeah.
so understand it might take her a lot of time.
She's learning to be a mother on top of
Correct.
learning to be
To be
your
a partner.
partner.
And she might not, she most likely will have underestimated how challenging that role is, even as much as she loves you.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
so love is n- i- is not going to be enough to speed up the learning curve. It doesn't speed up the learning curve.
No, and the thing is with a biological mother, from the moment they become pregnant, you feel as though they're in love with that child,
Oh, no
right?
doubt.
And then, I mean, we both been at births, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, we
Yeah.
didn't birth, but we've been
No.
there. And
No.
then as soon as that baby is born and
Yeah.
it's placed on the mother's
Yeah.
chest,
Yeah.
you can see that immediate, like
Yeah.
that love connection right there.
Yeah.
Stepchildren, that's not going to be like that. And it's we're humans. This is
Yeah.
how things occur. It's not going to be immediate.
It isn't. So, but the strength of that family
Mhm.
comes down to the strength of the couple. And you'll get to a point where you will be able to borrow cachet from your partner that you'll be able to use with your non-biological
Mm.
kids. So because your relationship is so strong with the partner, it's almost like your words have credence now because she can speak on your behalf, or she's going to start saying some of the things you say, and vice versa. Or hey,
Yeah.
get nothing over any of either one of those.
Yeah. And even if y'all disagree, it's still giving that unified front, presenting that unified front at all times.
Right.
So that comes to like
Right.
we might disagree in private, but in public,
Yeah.
we are one entity.
Yeah, you have to be because
Yeah.
it's even easier for things to implode if you disagree in front of the kids because there's already spoken and unspoken allegiances already when you get
Absolutely,
two sets
right?
of children, right?
Yeah.
And so if you come out and they sense that mom and stepdad or dad and stepmom are not on the same page here, there's some friction here, there's going to be some lines drawn and some sides chosen. And I remember with my current wife, we had some discussions early on about just my perception of the treatment of her son and her daughter, right?
Mhm.
And I was like,
Her biological is
her
your
biological
steps.
my steps, right? I was
Okay.
like, and maybe that's just a dude thing. It's like there were some ways that dudes can shake and move that you would never let your daughter shake and move, right? Or you would be like, let me put a couple checks and balances in here because I know how things can go left.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so some of those discussions came up and we had them, and I had my opinion on it. She obviously had 20 something years of experience with the kids. And so I, we were able to talk about it, but certainly I'm going to defer to her and I'm going to support her.
Mhm.
But, we were to talk about a really sensitive issue. And because our parenting approach was different in that situation. Yeah. But we're unified. The kids know that. We've got great relationships with the steps, all my stepkids.
I think we spoke to this a little bit already, but essentially what you're saying in that what you're conceptualizing
Mhm.
right there is the fact that, the biological parent at the beginning of this blended process should lead in discipline.
I think so.
And then the non-biological is there for support.
Correct. And that should be communicated to the kids. Hey, your mom is going to take the lead on this. I'm supporting her.
Yeah.
Whatever she says, you fellas, whatever she says goes.
Yeah.
My kids, hey, I'm gonna take the lead on this. Something
Yeah.
comes up, I'm gonna be the one talking to
Yeah.
you. If there's some more stringent discipline needs to
Yeah.
take place, I'm gonna be the one administering that. But hey, when I'm not here.
And that's a really difficult thing for men specifically, where we're used to be like, no, this is it. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Right. And now we have to like, all right, mom takes the lead here. I'm not saying all men, but I know for me that would be that's really difficult.
Right.
That's going to be a difficult process for me,
Right.
where I know the mother,
Right.
the biological mother,
Right.
when I reach this point in my life,
Right.
is going to take the lead here, and I'm used to being
Right.
up front,
Right.
So that's how was that for you? Just take a step back, allow your partner to lead in regards to that discipline right
Right.
there. and maybe not agree with how things are how difficult was that?
That was hard,
Yeah.
and that was a real sticking point with, my second wife,
Mhm.
and caused a lot of friction with a couple of the kids.
Mhm.
Um, but, you know, it was one of those things again where I could have done a lot better to prep
Mhm.
for that, you know?
Mhm.
So that I think the difficulty came from, hey, going into it ignorant, unprepared, not putting good things in place right away. And then our different parenting styles that just exacerbated everything. You know, she's a
Mm.
lot more direct, a lot more forceful,
Mhm.
and my kids were not accustomed to that.
Hmm.
So there, there's a lot of things as I alluded to that I could have done better. It's hard. It's hard initially kind of as a man to say, let me step back on this, but it makes sense in the context of the family. She has the deeper relationship
Yeah.
and a different sort of um, you know, intimacy and connection with the kids where she can use those discipline techniques where I might be like, I know he needs to come out of his mouth and say that. But she might know her son or daughter and like,
Yeah.
yo, that's how she initially processes it. And then, hey, we bring it back down and I, do this
Yeah.
correction with it, whatever. But you don't know the lay of the land early enough
Yeah.
to say, no, no, this is how we're going to do it.
Eventually, you get to the point
You do.
where you're able to take the lead in those
Right.
situations, but you really have to humble yourself in a
Correct.
sense at the
Right.
beginning of that.
Right.
So if you could categorize, I didn't say that too well,
Hmm.
but it
Capsulize.
capsulize.
There you
That's
go.
way
I
much.
knew, I knew,
That's
we were doing this.
way better.
We're
That's
doing, we're
way
doing, we're
better.
doing this in a minute.
Yeah. Your role in regards to disciplining your non-biological children.
Hmm.
Now, Ron Deal specifically says, you act more as a adult friend as opposed to an authority figure.
Right.
Do you agree with that concept?
Yes, initially. I think the right to be in authority over a child is given to you by the child's parent and then
Mhm.
eventually the child. Like
Interesting, the
you can't
child.
you can't come in. I mean, you can
Yeah,
come in and demand
it's not gonna
that you're
work.
the authority.
Yeah.
And depending on the personality of the child, the age of the child, sometimes the gender of the child,
Mhm.
that probably ain't gonna work for you, right? When a kid, like any relationship, when a kid says, I'm willing to come under your authority. I've seen you enough, I trust you enough, I respect how you treat my mom.
Mm.
And so I'm comfortable coming under your authority in the house, that your words carry equal or close to equal weight as mom.
Mhm.
That's earned to me.
Yeah.
You can make it easy
Mhm.
by making sure, like that last point, that you as a couple are tight.
Yeah.
And the kids will pick up when mom is relaxed, they're gonna relax.
Right.
If she's on 10, they're gonna be like, yo, what's up? And if she has a son, you really gonna get some kickback
Yeah.
because,
Especially if he's not used to having a male authority figure, right?
correct.
That's when
Yeah,
the major kickback
correct.
comes.
Yeah,
He's like, "I've been the man of the house,"
correct.
right? I've been
So,
I've been doing my thing,
thing,
right?
exactly. So who are you?
Can I ask this
Yeah.
question? So, I think their audience, parts of our audience will really push back against that concept of being a child's friend.
Yeah.
And to a certain
Yeah.
extent, I understand that.
Right.
So I don't know if friend is necessarily the correct term, but we want to be something other than the direct authority figure. I
Right.
think that is essential
Right.
to long-term growth.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think the word friend is used because it's difficult to find a title for the kind of relationship you're gonna have.
Right.
So I'll give you an example as we get ready to wrap up is there was times when with one of my stepchildren, they did not understand why their mom was either coming so hard on this thing or they just didn't understand how their mom rolled. And so my role at that point was I had a good enough relationship with the stepchild to say, hey, I understand how you're feeling. Let
Mhm.
me see if I can kind of, put some light on where it's coming from. When your mom does this, moms are like this in general.
Yeah.
And when she does X, Y, and Z, it may come off this way, but really she's doing this way. So in that role, I'm a I'm a advocate for the kid. Hey, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And I'm a clarifier and a partner for my partner.
Mm.
Hey, she's still the authority,
Yeah.
but let me give you some, some shine on where it's coming from. So it's a little easier for you to understand.
Right.
Um, and then I'll back that up with, hey, I know it's tough, but I'm in support with what mom said because as a parent on my end, this is what I experienced with my kids, blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah. And so it's not a friend in the sense that, hey, we're just chummy. We're not, you know, I'm not your BFF in that sense,
Yeah.
but I am a it's hard to find a term.
Mentor? I don't know. No, no, no.
Yeah.
You know what we're gonna do, B? We're
Yeah.
gonna stop right
Yeah.
here. We're gonna look up some terms that fit this perfectly, and when we come back for part 2,
Right.
we're gonna come back with a beautiful word
Absolutely,
that
absolutely.
encapsulizes exactly that concept.
Absolutely. So stay tuned for part 2. We're gonna wrap it up then, but you can see how complicated it
Yeah.
is. It's not to be entered into lightly. And so we hope that you've done all the pre-work to get to the point where you can confidently say you're ready to blend families with somebody else. Because
Right.
if you do it well, it's powerful.
Very.
Very powerful. So until next time,
I'm John.
I'm Kelly.
Peace.